Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel UIPath tutorials. Now today I am going to showcase one of the use case where I am going to add a new column basically to the existing file. Now what is the use case exactly? First, bot have to read a input file. Input file is basically have a column ID, name and country, and then bot have to add a new column as age in between name and country column. So here we have name and country column, and in between the both columns the bot have to add age, or if we can say that after a name column the bot have to add a age column, and also update exact age of each person from age master files. So once it added a age column here, it have to update the age also, basically exact age from the master file. Now this is basically a kind of master file which I have shown here, where the master file is nothing but an Excel file which have two columns, name and the age there, and the output file which will going to be generated by the bot is having a ID, name, age and the country. If you can see here, the age is updated here in between name and country, and the values also updated with respect to master file. Now Adam, if you see, it's 37 age, let me correct it, and for Nicole it's 40. Now I have to implement this use case in Studio. How to do that? Let's go to the Studio. I'll go to the project, open project folder. I'll create one folder as an input, where I'm going to create one Excel file as an input. Now I'm just defining a column name, basically ID, name and the country. I'll give the same data that I have defined in the PPT. Name is Adam. Okay, then Nicole is the country, it's USA and Australia. Now as I have created an input file, let's see then what is the next file I have to create. It's a master file, age master file, which is predefined. Now what I'll do, I'll create another folder as a template. Inside that I'm creating age master file. It have a name here, it have a name here and the age. Rahul, let me copy the same information. Adam, Nikki, Nicole, Ricky instead of Nikki. Now let me define the age also, which is 32 for Rahul, 37 for Adam, 36 for Ricky and 40 for Nicole. Now master file is created. Let me go back to the main file. The first activity is the sequence that you have to drag drop here. You can give a name, a suitable name, like let me give What I'm doing exactly is I'm adding new columns to Excel. Now I'm going to read the input file. Let me read the input file. The sheet name is sheet 1, and I'm just creating an output in data variable, okay, which is already exists somewhere. Okay, now once this is created, what I'll do, I'll use output data table just to see uh, what is the basically information present in the Excel file, input Excel file, or what are the records basically. Now this is optional, you can also use it, or it's all up to you. I'll pass a data here, and then data output. This will be a string variable. Data output will be the string variable. Now I'm going to print this into the right line. I'll write down here data output. I'm going to run this or debug this. Okay, what happened? Sorry, I have not passed here the data. So now if I pass the data, the result will be reflected in the output panel. Now you see this is the same data which is present in the Excel is reflected here in the output panel. Now let's move ahead. Now what I'll do, I'll use a invoke code, and then I'm going to pass a data. Sorry, let me remove this. I am going to select a type which is system.data.data table and the value as a data. Now I am passing this data to this in underscore data variable that I have created here, or we can call it argument. Basically it's not variable but the argument that we have created here. Now when I go to the edit code, I will not see a data, but I will see a in underscore data here, because this is what I am passing to this argument, right? So now in underscore data I have all the data of input file. Now what I'll do, in underscore data dot columns dot add, and in the bracket I will write down here a column name which is age, and then I'll write down the type. Basically what is the type of this column? I'll make it string, or you can make it integer also, because it's a age, it's always be a number, but I'm making as a string for now. And then set ordinal, which will help to define the position of the column. So I'll give a column position as 2. Now if you open the input file, this id is on the 0 ordinal, and this is on 1, and this is on 2. But as of now we have defined age on the 2 ordinal. That means uh, basically that age will going to be placed just after the name, because the name is on 1, right? Now if I'm going to use this output data table here, because as of now it is updated, this data table is updated here, you see that we have added the column, and I will use a write line. So before adding a new column, how the data looks like, I'll print that. So I'll write down before. Also I'll write down the environment dot new line. Same I will use here also. And after adding age columns to it, how the data will looks like, I will also add here. Okay, I'll add here after. Now let me run this. Let's see the output. So before the column is not added, the result is similar to the input file. We have 3 columns there. Now after that, when I have added age, you can see here now I have 4 columns, which is ID, name, age and country. Now if you see, ID have a one value, name have actually Adam here, but on age if you see it's a blank value because we have added a column but not a value. Now how to add a value, basically that's the point here. I hope this is clear till this part. Now let's move to the next part where I'm going to update a age basically. Now for that I need to read a file. So let me read a master file which is present in the template. I'm going to assign this to master data. So here I'm reading the master file also. So this read range is something where I'm using reading a master file data, and this is for read range. This is read range for input. Now as I have all the data in the master data variable, which is of data table. Now let's move ahead. I'll use a for each row in data table where I'll define here the data because I want to iterate on a data. Basically I want to iterate on a input file data. Now I'm going to use a filter activity where I'm going to specify a master data, and here I'm going to specify a filter master data, something like that I have created. So this is also a new variable which is of data which variable type is data table basically. Now I have to give a condition also, right? If I'm using a filter data table, that means I have to use some condition. I have given a data table as input, and I have also created an output variable. Now I have to basically give some conditions. The condition will be, I know that in the master data, which is this, let me open the file. In the master data, the column name is name basically, right? I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I'll check, okay, if this is equals to the value that is coming from here, what I'll do, I'll take a assign activity. I can directly use a current row also. Just I want to create a new variable, name, and then you can write down here's a current row and the column name is name. Either you can use this directly in the configuration filter value, or for now I have created a variable, so I'm going to utilize this variable here. Now what will going to happen, let me open the input file. Okay, so this is the input file, right? And this is the master file. When the iteration starts, the bot will pick Adam. It will go to the filter activity, this name, and it will check, okay, this Adam is present here. Yes, this Adam is present here. Then I have to pick basically an age. Then it will comes to the Nicole. It will check, okay, Nicole is present here. What is the age? So this is what I'm doing, and I'm updating back to here. Now as I have already retrieved a name and I am already passing it to the filter data table. Now let's see what I have to do now is uh, you can write down one condition for a safer side, that if filter master rows dot count is greater than 0. If it's greater than 0, that means it have some matched value, right? If it is greater than 0, that means I have to update my data table. Let me update my data table. Now I have to write here the current row, and then the column name is age, right? Age. And I have to pick a value from filter master data on 0th row, and the column will be a age. Now what I have done here, to the left if you see, I am updating the current row basically of data, and to the right I am just getting a value from the filter master data. If you see, I am getting a value from filter master data on 0 row, and the column is age. So if you see here, when the bot will going to search for Adam, it will find the one row basically. Then the filter rows dot count will be greater than 0, that means 1, and it will pick a age and put it into the basically a age column in the current row. I'm going to put a log message also for a safer side, so that if the data is not matched or name is not matched in a master file, at least I should know, right? You can write it like name is not matched in master file, or you can write it as name. You can make it more specific. You can write down the name here basically, so that at least it will print the name. Now this is done, right? Let me collapse it, and I'm just putting another output data table here, and then I'm going to print the records here just to see what is updated in the data. Basically, what is updated, what is a new schema or of that particular data. Data means this data table. When I'm using it, when I'm calling it data, that means I am saying a variable, basically a data variable. Now let me change this to something else. I can let me write it down, the final result. Instead of output data table, you can also print it into the directly to the Excel also with the help of right range, but I'm just preferring to use output data table because we want to check the output. When the output is correct, then we can directly put it into the right range. Okay, for now I am just closing this. Let me run the bot. So before, there were the three columns: ID, name, country, and after I have added the age, and after adding a age, you see with respect to Adam it's added 37, and with respect to Nicole it's 40, which is as per the master file. Now how I'm not going to print it back to the new file, that you can do it like you can put it into, you can use a right range here. Let me tell you that also. You can use a right, range here, and then you can give a path of basically for input, or you want to create a new file, you can create that also, or if you want to utilize the same, you can utilize this also. And then sheet name, you can give output, and then you can pass a data. This is how you can do it. Okay, in my case it will not run because that my office is expired, so maybe it will create a problem. Let me check it. If that works, then I can show you the result also. Okay, it worked for me. So you see, this is the input basically we have, and the output is created where it have added a column with the values itself. Now it is not reflected a column here because the reason is I have not checked the option as add headers, but if I checked it and run it again, you will see it that this header is added basically to the output file. Let's go to the output. Now you see the age is added, and you can see basically it is added as a string. If I make it as an integer, the type, if I make it as an integer here, then you might not see the format of like this basically. It was right. Now if I see it, the format is, I believe it's a general, right? Yeah. So this is how you can add ordinals, or a new ordinals, or to add a new columns on the respective ordinal that we can say. And then if you want to add a value to that new column also, with regard to anything, like it can be a master file also, if you are getting from some application also, that also you can do it. So this is how we can implement this particular use case. If you have any doubt, then you can just comment on my video. And thank you so much for watching my video. Have a great day.